Fake, be who you wanna be, cause what makes you unique is your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity. It's your identity. Yeah. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity. It's your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity. It's your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity. It's your identity.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us for another segment of Peeling Back the Layers with the Other Woman. Our guest tonight is Sakia Evans, and before I bring her on, I just want to let you all know that the current issue of the Other Woman magazine is out. It's the first issue that we're digital, and you can go to the Other Woman magazine.com. It's our new website that we're excited about, and you can click on the purchase link, and it's only $2.99. $2.99 for the digital. The print will be out in a couple of days, and it is $10. The title for this one is Born to Create. We're excited about how the Other Woman magazine is evolving, and Peeling Back the Layers is just one of the avenues we're taking to reach out to women, to give women a voice, to give women a platform to tell their truth. You'll be surprised the women in your circle who you may not really know who they are. So peeling back the layers, it allows us to meet the woman behind the craft, the woman behind the book, the woman behind the makeup, the woman behind the business, the woman behind the titles of wife, mother, boss, whatever. The Other Woman magazine is all about helping women to live their lives unapologetically with no regrets. A lot of times we are suppressed and silenced as women. We've always been considered as second-class citizens, but the Other Woman magazine is a reminder of your worth, of your value as a woman. So again, the current issue is out in digital format for only $2.99, theotherwomanmagazine.com. And now I'm going to bring on Miss Sakia. Hello, Sakia.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm well.
Good. Now those one-word answers we will not have tonight, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you most of all, Sakia, for having the courage to use your voice to talk about sexual abuse and your history of it. So many women have been sexually abused and are silent. They choose to be silent about it. A lot of women may not even be aware that they have been sexually abused. But before we get into that, we want know a little bit more about you. So you are 25 years old.
Yes.
And you reside in Montgomery, Alabama, by way of Detroit, Michigan, correct?
Yes.
So what brings you to the South from Michigan, and how long have you been here?
Well, I've been down here for about 6 years, and my mom actually made me bring us down here because she wanted to get in touch with my exchange family down here. My family on my mom's side originated down here. So my grandma, I believe, was from Dothan, and my grandfather was from Selma. I could have that mistaken, but that's what I believe is correct. And so he actually had a family down here before he even started the one that I come from my mom. And so he had a family down here of I think about 3 or 4 kids already. And then I guess that they divorced and he ended up meeting my grandparent. I mean my grandma, and they moved around and stuff. Because my mom's from Philly and then I'm born and raised in Detroit. And that's where he died at.
Wow.
So
Okay, so you actually have family roots here in Alabama.
yeah, I do.
Okay, so you're really like coming home
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah,
way, in a way.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm really supposed to be down here.
okay. So, and if you had not moved, we would have never met. Now, we met at the Mothers of Gynecology. You
Yeah,
remember that day?
of course.
Yes, we met that day, and you had a vendor table. You had your beautiful box bunnies that we'll talk about later. And I believe that's when I got to know that you had been married before and divorced. And I believe I'm not sure if you told me about the sexual abuse then or
It was when we did the clothing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we'll talk about that also, you all. She's a wonderful fashion designer. She is my personal, I can say that. She's actually custom made some things for me and will make some in the future. I was her first customer and I always tell her, don't you forget me when you get famous. I was your first customer. So let's tell us, Sakia, when you first were sexually abused and who did you tell if you told anyone?
So the very first memory, I had to have been either one or two because the first three of us is stair steps. So it's 3 years in between the first three of us, and it's only a brother over me, and my sister wasn't even born at the time. So I had to have been about one or two or possibly three. But the earliest memory I can remember, and it's extremely suppressed and it's extremely vague, but the earliest memory I can recall is I used to always be brought down to the basement of my grandma's house by a family member. And they will always sit me on the edge of the bed and just lay me back on the edge of the bed. And the only way I can explain it, because it's so suppressed and it's so blurred and so mixed up, is they would just lay me there and just lay on top of me. Now I can't go into extreme detail for that particular situation on how far they went or what all transpired while they was on top of me, but that's all I can remember is them just doing that. And the sense of that moment was just so dark. Like the energy for that moment was so dark. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't understand what wasn't right or what was even happening. And I think that was the very first time I checked out. I checked out because I can't even recall. And then on top of that, my age play a big factor. Because the thing about age and memories is unless you have a strong something that ties you to that memory at early ages like 1 and 3 and stuff like that, you don't recall what's really going on. So either you have a very positive, very strong emotional memory that ties into those type of age time frames, or you have something very traumatic that ties into it. And so I truly believe that was the first time my consciousness was awoken at that early age enough to even hold on to stuff like that.
So you're saying you were at least 3 years old.
The very first time.
So since the memory, the thought, I mean, you'll never forget it, but
Yeah, no.
do you journal about it? Have you ever journaled about it so that you don't
Nah, the biggest
uh,
thing about the sexual abuse is a lot of people have to understand. I'm from a time where it was kind of a newer thing to be a pedophile. And so a lot of people were still in disbelief on pedophilia because it was just this grand crime that no one would dare commit, is what people was assuming. And so once it became so widespread to where you had to have combat in schools, we literally had rallies, good touch, bad touch rallies in elementary school because it was so widespread. A lot of these things was taught to me as being normal until it wasn't. So sexual
Mm.
abuse I thought was normal. I thought that was just people not being able to control that part of themselves. I thought that was just I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't like it and was going against it. And so when it came to being vocal about it, I didn't see no purpose in it because if I already
Mm.
think it's normal, and then when I get an inkling that it's not, and I don't, a lot of things also were shown to me to have bad repercussions if I did speak out. And so it wasn't just the threatening, but it was the reinforcing that around you. People need to learn to
Right.
listen to children, and people need to learn to really observe children. I
Yeah.
spoke out plenty of times when I was younger, but you know what happened? I got dismissed because I was a kid. Nobody listened. Everybody gave me excuses behind the things I was saying, and so that further drove the nail of it being normal deeper into my into my
Mm.
psyche, to the point where what's the sense of telling, because nothing comes about it. You get in more trouble telling than keep it quiet.
Wow. Wow.
So
How, you remember how old you were when you first shared that with someone?
so the first time I shared it, I actually well I guess I won't say who I told you, but the first time I shared it, yeah, I remember it because it was another family member of mine's. They used to watch me wash up in the morning from school, and I spoke to my mom about it and let her know, like, such as always watching us every time we wash up. And she kind of dismissed it, was like, oh, they're just trying to make sure you're doing a good job, and so that of course escalated things with that person, you know. And the next time I told in great detail was when I was 18 years old. I told again, and the only thing that I got met with was story swapping about the stuff that that person went through, and that was pretty much it. So again, what's the purpose of telling if nothing's coming out of it, you know? Or when a lot of times when people see the symptoms of sexual abuse, they beat you. They beat you for it. Like a lot of children will act out in a sexual manner early on. The parents would catch them, oh, you fast tail, where you learn that from, and just going straight into whooping them. Like, why are you whooping them instead of figuring out where it came from, how they know anything, what exactly they're doing, because they don't even know what they're doing.
They
Kids
don't
are
know.
big.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't
And
even.
do you think the people that you shared, maybe they didn't? Do you think they knew or they didn't know how to deal with it?
I think they knew, but they didn't know how to deal with it. My family is
Hmm.
very old school, traditional, and that's in every aspect. That's in the toxic traditions and the morals and the mental aspects. Everything from that all the way to the positive too. So the negative sides of it was very old school negative. So you know,
So now so you've dealt with sexual abuse for several years, starting from the age of 3
yeah,
to
all the way up
what
until
is,
now. To now, the earliest encounter was when I just like 2 years ago when I was working with a painting company, and I was getting some extreme advances made towards me. He started to get physical, all type of extreme stuff. This man was telling me stories about how he used to pay other women to have his children. And I'm looking at the fact that I'm working for you and I have to make ends meet, and you just taking full advantage of it. You're making me extremely uncomfortable. Then the moment I say something, you denying it. Then I find out your wife is a lawyer. So I'm just looking like, okay, well, I don't think this is a battle I'm going to win. And it kills me because it drives me out of spaces that I wanted to be in. Like, I wanted that job because of the field it was in. I was doing repairing on houses and stuff, and I love that. But I had to get out of it because it's a very male dominant area, when it comes to that type of work. And the people I was with, they made everybody look bad in that aspect. But
you
I'm still
know,
and now.
you're a very beautiful woman, Sakia, and a lot of women, and you're a tall woman. You have those beautiful that youthfulness about you. You got the long legs. You're just a beautiful woman. A lot of people don't realize how beautiful women have to deal with that beauty. It's almost like you get punished with those type of comments, with the actions from the opposite sex because of the way that you were born. Now that you are of age and you are using your voice, have you sought out therapy? Are you in therapy for this?
So I had to seek out therapy for this about 2 years ago because it started to affect. It already was affecting everything, but once I realized how little control I had over the moments when it was affecting, once I realized it was just getting worse and worse and worse, it was making me resent a lot of things, and it was situations that I shouldn't have to be forced to deal with and don't know how to deal with that was put on me from other people. I'm still dealing with adult situations that was put on me as a child, and so I had to seek therapy because it was interfering with everything. It was interfering from the way I was, the way I was living my life, my entire life, all the way up until recently. Like the person I am now, people think I'm like this forever. People think I talk too much now. People don't know I was quiet as a child because I was
Mm,
bothered. I was withdrawn. I was so quiet as a child. My mama honestly thought I was deaf and was taking me to go get checkups on a regular basis to see if I could hear because I wasn't talking. And then on top of
mm,
that, the sexual abuse made me withdraw so bad to the point where it played a gigantic developmental delay. It delayed my speech by withdrawing and not talking so much to the point I had to get speech therapy in order to even talk like this now. So people think I talk fast or proper and all that. They don't understand I had years of speech therapy all the way up until literally high school. It was bullied
wow.
severely about it. I couldn't say S's, I couldn't say R's, I couldn't pronounce half of the vocabulary. And it was because of the fact that I was bothered. That affected everything. That affected everything, all the way up until now. Like I said, it's just been within the last few recent years that I became the person I am now. And everybody just see it and think that this has just been my whole walk from start to finish, and it's not. I've been the complete opposite. I've been so reserved to the point where I couldn't even hold or make eye contact because that's how traumatized I was from people, from everybody, men, women, children, every single body, everybody. Like
And you know
I
what?
couldn't.
You know what, Sakia, as we got to know one another, and you being a designer, we had a conversation one time when I was in your apartment and you were getting my sizes. You mentioned how you don't feel comfortable wearing certain clothing, how you didn't feel comfortable wearing tight fitted clothes, not as tight fitted, just form fitted clothes that fit you because of your history of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
But now you're trying to, I think I told you, girl, you better use it now because you're going to be 60, 70 years old and it's going to be gone, and you're going to wish you had dressed like you want to dress. You shouldn't be punished because of the way you want to dress. So how do you deal with that, Sakia? Because you being a fashion designer, you want to wear your brand, you want to wear your business. So how do you deal with that now, how you dress and your confidence when you dress?
So one thing about emotions, and especially that I've realized with dealing with trauma, is they're very manipulative, but they also
Mm-hmm.
can be manipulated. And so what I
Mm-hmm.
had to do was I literally had to, I've had to, I had to pacify myself with baby steps until I felt comfortable enough to take it full force. So over the years, I would look at things, the different designs that I would want to wear and stuff like that, and to get myself more comfortable to wearing it, I would start off by doing layers or similar colors, and then I would do things like wear it around the house to get a little bit more comfortable. But as of lately, I do have a very rebellious spirit, and by nature, that I feel like has been suppressed for too long, and I put that thing in overdrive, and I was just like, excuse my French, but f the world, I'm about to just. I really had to get to that point because what I
Yes.
realized growing up is
Yes.
if I keep listening to what people say over here and over here and over here and over here, I would never make sense ever. Because people
Right.
told me that black people can't grow hair. People told me because I'm tall, I gotta play sports. People told me all types of
Yes.
stuff. And if I sit up here and follow suit or listen to it, I will literally be a
Yes.
walking contradiction. I would be a living paradox because it would never make sense. And so once I realized that I had to stop listening to the world, and just because I'm in the world don't mean I have to be a part of it all the time, I looked for every single aspect that I can take and isolate myself in and say this is mine no matter what. And when I'm over here, then that's public. And when I'm over here, that's
Yes.
mine no matter what. And I just put them
Yes.
all into the same category because I got tired of it. And the biggest
Yeah.
thing about it is these things are not by choice. You get tired of fighting yourself after being put at battle with yourself by other people. On
Yes.
top of having to fight the battle with them, like I got tired of the internal war, and I
Yeah.
just okay, listen. You've been winning for years. It's time to flip this battle around. And I just took it full force. And I literally, the first outfit I put on, I'm walking out the house shaking like, oh my God, don't look at me. You know, I was terrified. It was terrible. Pouring out sweat. I had so much anxiety. My stutter was just messing up. Like I didn't even want to be looked at. I just wanted to get in the house. But I took myself out and I made myself run all my errands dressed the way I want to dress.
Good.
And I made myself come back home at the end of the day. And by the time I was done with all that, I felt like on top of the world. Like I was so dignified. I was just like, you can't tell me nothing now. Like you can't do it no more.
Yes. And you know what, Zakia, I hear it in your voice. I hear it in your voice. I hear anger. I hear you mentioned rebellion, but people don't realize the way you are today, you have had a journey to bring you to this point. You know, people will say, like you said, you talk too much. Women have to deal with that. You're too much of this, or you're too much of that, or tone this down. You have to be you, or you will miss your life. And they don't realize the past, the history that you've had to make you evolve into the woman that you are today. So there's a reason behind that. And everybody has something. So I offered and invited you to the Other Woman magazine, the print version, the digital, to also use your voice there, because you have to get it out and you have to be a voice for those women who are still silent. But the good part of all of this is how you are using it for your creativity, for your designer. How do you think, transitioning now to your business side, all that you went through brought you to your creative spirit? And when did you realize how creative you were?
To put it generally, I got tired of following life by everybody else's rules, even the ones that didn't make sense. I used to question everything as a child. People used to just get so mad at me. I used to go up to the pastor and ask him every Sunday, if God made us, who made God? You know? And so I used to always question everything. And that was my way of getting back at everything that happened to me. You know, like my form of revenge is not spiteful. My form of revenge is solely for myself. I might do something I'm very passive aggressive, and it's very harmless in a sense to everybody else. So I might do something in the sense of a get back, and you don't have a clue that was my form of revenge. And so everything I do now, I'm doing unapologetically, and I'm also doing with a vengeance, because I had so much of my years robbed from me. Everybody want to sit up here and be like, oh, you're so young. I was even younger than this a few years ago. You know, and I blink and I'm 25. And even though that's still young, I was still younger, you know, and on top of that, I'm only getting older. You know, every second I'm getting older. And so I really had to realize, like, yeah, I am young, but you don't know how long I didn't have my youth as a kid. I've been working since 15 and babysitting and watching kids and changing diapers since 12. So how much younger, you know, like I get it, but it's more so a slap in the face. It's more so like my form of compliments now is hearing that I talk too much. It's hearing that you're too outspoken, that you always want to play devil's advocate, or you always got to push something. Oh, here go Kia. That's my form of a compliment now, you know, because I'm feeling a complete opposite. I probably wouldn't even been known about if I was down here the same way I was. I wouldn't even been down here, you know. And so it plays a part in everything I do, because everything I do is always a self-reflection moment, and it's always symbolizing growth. So every time I do something to create, I'm always looking for the challenges. I'm always looking for the hardest things to do, and then I'm also always looking for the newest ways to do it. So when it comes to creating, I no longer use reference about rules. No, I sit up here and I figure out what it is I want to do and how I can do it. That's exactly what I do. And that's played a big part from the sexual abuse, because I got tired of being put in situations when I couldn't thrive in the ways that I wanted to, or being told that, yeah, you can draw whatever you want, but in order to do this, you got to draw it like this, and you got to do this, and you don't always have to do that. It's always options in life. And once I got awoken to it, or once I got, you know, awoken to it, I was like, oh, well, I can pick and choose whatever it is I want to do. And from that point on, it didn't make sense to listen to nobody else. Everybody else has steered me wrong. Every freaking body I listen to has hurt me. Everybody has betrayed me. I've been being manipulated for years, had no clue. And so I really had to start sitting down, listening to myself. And ever since I did that, I've got all the way up to this point right now because of it. And
There
all the
you go.
places I didn't listen to everybody else, I had to run away from. All the
Right.
places I got from listening to everybody else was nothing but just heartache, pain, and depression. I was depressed as a child before I even knew what the word was.
Mm. And to have had to deal with this since the age of 3.
Yeah, like
That
we
is your whole
didn't.
life.
Yeah, and the killing thing about it is it was done from people that was living with us. And then on top of that, the reinforcement of the keeping quiet. You see it in movies. You see it in its music. They had the whole Chester Chester song come out. The Chester Chester, the Mommy Line Please Don't Leave song.
Yeah,
They made a
yeah,
mockery of that stuff. Like those songs. Well, they didn't make a mockery by making that song. It was for awareness, but it was for awareness for a reason. And then also the response from that stuff. You go and tell mommy boyfriend touched you or over here touched you, you gonna get your butt whooped. For whatever reason, didn't make sense, but you gonna get your butt whooped. Any type of
right,
symptom or sign that you show that you've been through that stuff, who gonna get in trouble? You gonna get in trouble. And you're gonna have to
right.
fight to even be heard or even trusted. And so a lot of that stuff had me at bay with even talking. And then once I did, I get excused like, oh, just go and play. So this is all seeming normal. And then once I realized it wasn't how much I've been lied to, it's like going all the way up until 25, still believing in Santa Claus, and then the world tell you that, that's
You
not real,
woke
right?
up. You woke
It's like,
up. Yeah.
please.
I call
Yeah.
them sleepwalkers. People are
Mhm.
sleepwalking. They haven't been awakened to their life. You've been awakened. You are awake.
I've been awoke because I've been very internal. That's the thing about it. It made me go within because the world didn't feel like this big, vast place. It felt like being inside of a house, inside of a house. And so the only place that I could go to get out and to be inside this vast place was to be inside. My inside was my world. And the world was just another entrapment, you know? But yeah, like it just made me so reserved to the point where that internal dialogue was so severe and it was just so advanced to the point where when I did start being verbal, people looking at, oh, you were old soul, or oh, you've been here before, oh, she knows something, or oh, you be around old people and all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, this is just me at this point because my consciousness had to kick in an overdrive to see how many of y'all is predators around here and how I can get out the situation, and the fact that I can't tell, all this awareness was already installed to me. The second my consciousness was activated at that early age. It didn't go anywhere because, like I said, instead of being verbal and all that, I got internal. I got stuck inside myself with all this internal dialogue, and it just progressed. So on the outside, my development was being delayed and even hindered tremendously with the speech and all of that. But on the inside, I'm flourishing.
Yes. And you know what, Sakia, you mentioned something about children, um, being aware and listening to children. What would you tell mothers, single mothers, and married women with small children when it comes to babysitters, when it comes to sleepovers, when it comes to having men spend the night with you around small children? Because statistics show that it's usually sexual abuse happens by someone you know well or someone in the household, a family member. So, what would you say to these parents, these single women, about watching their children?
Honestly, because I don't want to just target the single women because my mom did do her best. She taught us good touch, bad touch in the kitchen. She even told us if anybody touched you inappropriately, you come let me know.
Okay.
And so, and it was even moments when I was inside of a two-parent household for a while. And so I just want to target all the parents just so no one's,
Yes.
left out because
Yes.
situations are very diverse and tailor made
Yes.
to yourself. So for all the parents, any sign of sexual abuse, if your child is underage and you didn't sit down and teach them birds and the bees or any type of sexual behavior and they're acting in a sexual manner, you sit down and you question that child where they got it from. You don't sit up here, you don't never beat that child, you don't never make her feel like she's in trouble, he or she is in trouble for it. You sit down and you try to understand it. You sit down and you talk to your child as if you are a child and you try to understand it. You don't sit up here and chastise them for the things that they're doing. I don't. I know it might catch you off guard. It may seem a little outrageous and all the other stuff, but it's coming from a place that they don't even understand. So you have to be compassionate towards your children. And this is in every aspect, because it's a lot of different concepts that branch and jump from one thing to another that ties all into one core value, which is really just observing your children. And let you need to understand as parents, your child is already the person that person's going to be from birth all the way up until adulthood. So don't sit up here and keep dismissing children just because they're small and they're young, as if they're not thinking for themselves, they're not into different things, they don't have their own views and opinions on things. Yeah, things can be manipulated and altered, but they still are people too. They're still people too. So the same way how you got childhood memories from doing stuff with mama and grandma and all the other stuff, yeah, that child is a human being too. So don't wait until that child get older to sit up here and make that child feel validated, or to sit up here and be able to talk to that child, listen to that child, you know? And then another thing is, don't always expect to even find an answer of who's doing it, because that child is in just much confusion as you. And if anything, that child is in 10 times more confusion, because you don't know what was done. You don't know what was done, even what even being verbalized. You still don't know the severity of it, and you don't know the feeling of it.
Right,
you don't
right.
Because even just now, if a dude hit on you and you ain't into it, you're going to get so pissed off in a split second, you're going to catch attitude, you know? So how do you think that child feel when he has no choice, and you literally got an adult 8 feet taller than you powering over you? You know, that child is suffering. That child is always going to be a victim. And I'm talking about child from any age. You can be grown and still be a child of that type of, victim. I mean, you can still be a victim of that type of behavior. But any age, listen to your children no matter what they tell you. Good or bad, listen to your children, and then sit down and even make your children aware of different things before it gets too late. It's too many parents that keep dancing around in sexuality when it comes to getting in depth with your children. You need to install it into that. Don't sit up and use code words like cookie and mookie. No, call it what it is. Break down some anatomy to your child. Now, you move at your own pace. You know when your child is able to understand and adapt to these different situations, but at least start with the basics of good touch and bad touch. And then also, you need to have a team. You cannot be the only one sitting up here fighting for your child in this world. You need a team. People need to get out of this, oh, this is my child, I'm going to do. No, it does take a village. It does. That didn't come out of nowhere, because your child is not out here with just you. Your child is out here in the village. But you need to have a strong support system that walk the same walk that you walk when it comes to morals and beliefs, and different type of signals to look out for. And then also educate yourself. Even if you're not even a parent of someone who was sexually, assaulted, educate yourself as a person to see those signs in other people around you, because they're everywhere. Once you realize they're everywhere, Yeah. But you have to be the advocate for your child, because I'm telling you, that child is in a world of confusion.
And you know what? Even the children that are too young to speak, they cannot vocally say, they know. Children can recognize a person's spirit. They recognize energy. I've always heard, don't make your child hug somebody that they don't want to hug. Don't make them go say hi to so-and-so. Go. No, there's a reason. That's their language. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Like, people need to be aware of your child. Your child is not some little puppy just running around jumping on. No, your child is a very complex human being. And it don't wait until you get grown to be a complex human. You are like that literally from birth. So be paying attention to your children. Treat them like people. Because that's what they are. It's too many people that got these kids and they just act like they just see little objects to go put somewhere. My whole life, all right, as a child, I was taught that we wasn't supposed to be seen or heard, or we were only supposed to be talked to. We only supposed to talk whenever someone talked to us. We're not something to just go put on a shelf somewhere whenever you don't want to be bothered from a long day, whatever the case. Like, we're still people too. And it's not even our fault that we got here. A lot of things don't even be the child's fault, and they keep on taking all the backlash for it. It's not their fault that they're born, but you want to sit up here and chastise them for being there, for having to take care of them. Yeah. It's not our fault that we get sexually abused, but you want to sit up here and chastise them from acting out, or not talking to you, or talking to you, or telling. Like, you have to become a safe space for your child. If your home is not peaceful for that child, then that child is never at home. So there's not going to be no good communication for that. But it starts with yourself as a parent. You have more power over that child's life than what you give yourself credit for. And adults, parents need to start exercising that. That's just simple.
They let you know.
Yeah.
They let you know. And a lot of times I know My son would probably think I'm being overprotective. A lot of grandparents are probably accused of being overprotective, but we've lived in that age of sexual abuse in the home and incest and all that kind of stuff. We are aware of that. And it seems like society has just gotten so comfortable with pedophiles. You know, it's still happening every day, every day. Some child is getting hurt right now. And not changing off of children, but women. Some women don't realize when they have been sexually abused. Some are in abusive relationships right now that they don't even realize manipulation is a form of sexual abuse. Any kind of force, any way they intimidate you. So I put the definition up there because a lot of women don't realize. So if you've been sexually abused or feel like you are, if you don't have peace with the person you're in a relationship with for whatever reason, that's a red flag. It's time to flee. It's time to go. So how has this affected your future with relationships or the possibility of marriage? Are you open to relationships? Are you in a relationship? How has being sexually abused affected that emotional side of you to be connected or coupled with someone?
So it has affected my I'm not currently in a relationship after the marriage just because of a lot of different reasons, but that's not really one of them. But it has affected the previous relationship all the way up until my marriage because when you don't validate your children, you setting them up to be manipulated by the best. All right, we easy targets. We literally just little worms waiting on the birds to come. Okay, and so that's exactly what I was out here. Every relationship I had, all the way up until my marriage, I didn't even get a chance to even choose the mate. These were just people that just came and hit on me, and I just had to take it because a lot of different things was playing a factor. I was bullied my entire life until I guess I got attracted enough to be left alone. You know, I was told I was ugly my entire life. I was bald headed my entire life, all type of things. And so when it came to those, I did have a little bit of toxic traditions come from my mom. You know, in a sense of like her feeling like some man is supposed to be having this savior complex over me, and all I needed is to meet the right guy. And then every time I meet someone, she looking at all their attributes and just dismissing me as a person, as if, oh, this guy I met about to sit up here and just complete my life, and oh, thank goodness, because I don't know what I was going to do if she didn't. You know, it affected all of it because it caused a resentment because of that, and then on top of that, the sexual situations with that always had me feeling at odds. So, with all of that being said, my understanding of sex was it was for men, and I never really understood the trade off for us besides the luxury of the relationship, but just having somebody around. You know, I'm in a relationship just for the hell of it, having all types of sex because this guy wanted, and I'm not even into it. You know, you don't never finish. They ain't tell you about that as a, and so a lot of things affected that because I have resentment. I have very much resentment. And then the scientific aspect of that poured into it. Once I already felt like it was just something done for men and it was a form of act to show the highest love for men or whatever the case. It made me feel like every time we did it, it was never on my time, and then even the things that women don't talk about. Our bodies tell us when we're able or when we're willing to do that. We don't work like men do to the point where if we're not, it ain't gonna happen even if we try. We got a hold. And so it don't matter if you want something in there or not, people will still shove stuff in there. And if you want to sit up here and lick and spit and all that, maybe take the time out to get her up to that point. But a lot of men don't do that because they're taught on their end, all of the misinformation behind it, and then we're taught to reinforce that for them. They're taught that, oh, if you do this and if you just banging her, she gonna love it, and all this other crazy rough stuff, throw upside down every now and then. And we taught, oh, if the guy doing it rough to you, that means he really like you and it's so good. So you taught to sit there and look stupid taking this while he think giving you the best time of your life, and you inhale, you burn it down there, you kind of raw, it's like, so it affected all of that.
And if you don't take it, something's wrong with you. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
you gonna get a beat. Cause I didn't take sex from a boyfriend of mine, and I got my ass beat from the kitchen all the way to the fucking driveway. Okay,
Mm,
all the way to the
mm,
driveway.
mm,
So it messes
mm.
with a lot of different things, and then also if you already been sexualized, literally from the moment you be on this fucking earth, all the way up until now and ongoing, you don't have a big interest in sex. If you've been eating cheesecake since you was a child consecutively all the way up until now, you're not gonna want no more cheesecake after a while,
Right.
and
Right.
so it makes you
Right.
spiritually numb and mentally numb, and therefore it makes you physically numb to it. Because if you don't have my mind and my body, I mean, if you don't have my mind and my soul engulfed in it, you can't have my body. It don't matter how much
Right.
putting on there or none of that case. And so once I got to the point of actually having that control over these factors and really understanding, again, options played a big part in that. Now I say that in general for every aspect. Once I realized it was different types of men and it was different types of situations I could be in, because again, as a child, the people around you make your world. So if you're surrounded
Yes.
by people saying one thing, you're gonna feel like that's one. I was surrounded by people telling us that black people couldn't grow long hair, black people had to get perms because your hair grows naturally nappy. You can't get out there too dark. You don't need no sunscreen. You can't swim because you're black. And that's what I really thought. I thought that we was just the scum of the earth. I thought that they was just the chosen ones, and we just like this because, we was designed or made just to suffer. And so once I
Mm,
got out and I realized that was a lie, I started taking up those new options, and I started really asking myself. Once I got in a position of having choice, and I mean complete and utter choice,
yes.
I can
Yes.
decide whatever I want to do every single day. If I want to sit around the house and not
Okay.
do nothing, I can do that. And once I found the freedom of choice, like that was like
Yes.
the biggest and the greatest medicine I could ever have to fix all the stuff I went through. So I decided to just choose different avenues once I knew that it was available. But the fact is, I didn't know that that was possible because the adults around me shrunk my world so small. I thought that sexual abuse was normal. I thought never being satisfied in a sexual manner was normal. I thought just being talked to like a dog was normal. I thought not having long hair was normal. I thought perming my hair every other day was normal. I thought the burns and the scalp that it left was normal. All type of things. And once I
Mhm.
realized that normalcy is a matter of what you choose to make casual and daily for you, I sit up here and I handpicked the finest fruits. Okay. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna
That's
get the
another
best for
life.
me. I get to go right up to the bush, like, no,
Yeah.
I got this.
It's like a
So
whole new world has been opened when you realize that you have a choice. And I think women need to realize that with our bodies. No means no. This
yeah,
is my body. This is my temple. This is the home that I live in. So, who I allow in my body, in my home, that's my choice. I don't
yeah,
care if you're married, I don't care if you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter. Your choice, not just for sex, but anything. You
yeah,
are a human being, a woman being, and you have choices. So that's a part of your whole awakening, realizing that you had a choice. You are the first guest that has ever sat outside. You are the first. That says something right there. When we first got on to do the test, I'm like, okay, Sakia, okay.
it's my
Got some plans behind
little
you.
background.
What?
And see that's the beauty of choice.
Yeah,
Like, I've
so
really been painting my own illusion for my life now. I got tired of the one that was handed to me. I'm having a ball. Like you can
yeah,
ask my closest friends. I call it people, and that's not. I've mastered creating my own illusion. I can literally have conversations with people and walk away not having a clue of what we was talking about, what they said, and it's because I've mastered that cold input to get in and out of situations. I've talked my way all the way to the spot where I'm at now, and this is coming from a little girl that
yeah.
everybody thought was deaf because I wasn't saying a word. And so I'm having a
Wow.
ball with this. I literally sit and I look every day for different challenges to do, and different ways on how to influence the different aspects of my life that I want. Like I'm a college dropout and I've had job positions where you had to have a degree for, so
There you go. There you
you
go.
know
What is supposed to
like
be
once I
yours is
really
yours.
realized like anything could be possible that you make possible, I start creating
Yeah.
all types of things.
Yes. And you know what? if you're boxed in to society's standards and what they expect from you as a woman being, you will miss your life. Now, speaking of box, we got to go this. It's already 10 till 8. Speaking of
Yeah.
box, you guys, I got to show you. This is a part of Sakia's, this picture that I've been showing. This is her at a event, and she makes what she calls box bunnies. They are the cutest. Tell us what box bunnies are and how you came up with that name, Sakia.
Well, I think the name kind of gave it to me itself because of the design of the product, and then the actual animals. So they are little bunnies. A lot of people think they're little dogs, but they little bunnies, and they're not pillows and they're not book bags. It's my take on a stuffed animal. Again, just flexing my freedom when it comes to manipulating different things. And being an artist is the greatest way to manipulate whatever you want. So they came from wanting to make a difference on the art community scene outside of paintings and drawings, and also wanted to drive that narrative on how that art can be as vast as literally whatever you create. So a lot of people don't know, but that by definition, art alone means anything created by the human in expression form. And so the whole
Right.
factor when it came to these bunnies was to drive in that diversity and also change the narrative on how people think of artists and the purpose and the functions that we have. So I just wanted to test my boundaries with the fabric as a medium because I sold too. I actually made that dress I was wearing and I made the outfit I'm wearing now. But I wanted to test my boundaries. Got a little spicy back too.
Look at that. So you made that.
I don't hear.
Show us the back again, Sakia. I'm going to put you, show us the back of that,
Oh.
your blouse again. And you made that.
Yes. And my little shorts that match.
And
Oh,
she
no,
made the
cool.
shorts in that. Look at there. That, okay.
That's a big
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that is where we became even closer, is because when you told me that you made those box bunnies, I don't know how the conversation switched, that's really what you want to do. You want to sew clothes for people, not just alterations, but sew outfits. So when I was going to Texas, I asked you to make me some pants. I call them house pants. Just some pants because I was there to take care of babies. I went there to be cute and stuff. But you made me cute and at home at the same time. So they're just lounge pants. And then she made me the band to go with it. I should have had pictures of it. But she's an awesome custom designer. Whatever you want, Sakia can make. Now, the box bunnies, they go to boxbunnies.co. It's not .com. It's
No, not
.co. Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't make a
.com was
mistake.
$1,000 to get, so it's CO for right now.
Okay, it's CO, and CO works. CO works.
Yeah.
So it's boxbunnies.co, where you can go and order these cute box bunnies. Now, what would you recommend they use them for, Sakia? This is your expression. You actually came outside the box to make those.
Oh, and ironically enough, I didn't even have a real intention because I love pockets. That's the only reason why I did it for real. And then also to bring the function.
Too.
Yeah. So I just wanted it to be exactly what it is. I wanted to be used for all type of things. Because I love a lot of pockets because I collect a lot of rocks and stuff. Like I got them all over the table now. So I collect a lot of rocks and stuff. And I always be looking for different ways to get more rocks to touch. So I use mine for rocks every time I go out.
How many pockets
You said what now?
does the box bunny have? How many pockets does the box bunny have?
So right now they have one, but I'm working on 2 different prototypes, and then I will add more on for custom ones as well.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about doing some back pockets or something for it.
Okay, good. They are the cutest.
Thank
You
you.
do bags also?
Well, I have done a few handbags just for fun, but I am looking into getting those made into bags too because everybody want those. But everybody use the pockets for either candy, books, or heating pads, or all types of things. Really, like people have told me stories about all kind of stuff. They put candy in there for when they grandkids come out of town. They always get something new in there.
so cute. So I
Thank
can
you.
see that when you just said grandkids, I can see having one of those box bunnies. And every time I visit my grandson or he comes to visit, I have some neat little things in the pocket
Yeah,
for him. So he goes to look for the box bunny. So it can be
yeah,
used for a lot of different things. But
yeah.
yeah, people do
Anything
call them
really.
backpacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now
you
I
that's
am working
only
on prototypes for backpacks.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're also I don't you paint also.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
paint, you sew, you're a creator, you're a designer, and all of that
Yeah.
in the midst of your history of
Yeah.
sexual abuse and your continual healing of sexual abuse, you can encourage, or should I say, inspire others. It doesn't matter where you are in life or what you've been through, your pain can speak to you. Your pain can lead you to where you're supposed to be. I am here on this platform as a result of leaving a 20-year marriage, financial struggle. So I used what I knew how to write and publish books to help other people so I could make some money, so I could be independent, so I could support myself. And then the Other Woman magazine, I knew I wasn't alone like you in feeling silenced and suppressed. So I wanted to free the other woman. That's the whole reason for the title. And the picture on the cover, the flower that looks like a vagina, it's be bold in who you are. I am a woman, that
Yeah.
is me. That's a beautiful thing. Did you ever, because of your sexual abuse, and we're going to say this in closing, because of your sexual abuse, did you ever feel like your body wasn't enough, or your body was ugly, or your body parts were you just ever afraid of them, afraid to touch your body or to know your body? Did you ever go through that period?
I kind of went through the opposite. I didn't even have a chance to really be aware enough to have a strong opinion on myself from the start. Like my opinion is forming now, but when I was younger, I felt like my body attracted people, and so I used to actually do stuff to make myself unattractive. You know, I used to pick swords all in my face. I used to spit when I'm walking out in public. I used to just try to just
Mm.
do anything to just make myself look unattractive. I used to take pride in walking out the house looking busted because I felt like I was safer like that. So I used to do a lot of things to keep myself safe. And the only thing about it is, it was more so the mental trauma of feeling like I've been duped. As smart as I was, to be put in those situations, I literally had to have sex in order to just survive sometimes because it was so detrimental. You know, like I literally had
Mm.
to have sex with a guy just to get home alive. You know,
Mm.
so those type of situations made me feel so reserved. That's why I didn't feel comfortable wearing the clothes that I made, because I felt like if I already look attractive to people, just busted. You know, that's why I don't take all that. Oh, you so beautiful as compliments. Those have been literally the words that has brought the most hell in my life. I don't care about how I look. I can't even see my face. Like I don't. It's not that serious to me, you know. And so when people keep trying to act like, "Oh, you got low self-esteem because you don't find yourself attractive," I find myself very attractive. It's just the fact that I don't really want everybody else in the world to, because I
The
know
attention.
when it happens. Even now,
The attention.
yeah,
I
but even,
so relate. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And you know what, Sakia? It doesn't get any easier when
no,
you get older. I think I was just telling my parents just a few days ago that I used to wear baggy clothes to hide my body.
yeah,
Everybody wants to make a big deal because you're tall. Oh, you could be a model, or you could play sports. Can I just be? Can I just be? So it was always a focus on the body type.
yeah,
So the self-confidence and the self-esteem, but I can't imagine topping that with sexual abuse. So people don't know what you go through.
no,
So in closing, I want to just encourage you all. First of all, before I forget, if you share this video, you'll get a free copy of the digital issue of the Other Woman magazine.
ooh,
So please share this video, and I will send you a code to unlock a free copy of the digital copy of the Other Woman magazine. And if you have a truth that you want to tell, if you have a story, I am always looking for women who can be transparent, who can take the makeup off, and to tell their truth. Zakia, you have helped many people and you will help more. I want to put up Dr. Winborn's, I want to make sure you read this. Zakia, she says, pardon the spelling, your message needs to be heard by thousands and thousands of people. They, like you, suffered, and many are still suffering. You can help those who are struggling. So the way you share, you got a lot to share.
Yeah.
Rosie says that you are a live wire and and cute. So you know what? Definitely use this platform.
Yeah.
Use this platform until you build your own platform to be a voice for the voiceless, to be a voice for those who have been silenced. You don't want to have your own platform, you are invited to the Other Woman magazine, the print, the lives. Your message definitely needs to be shared. You said you didn't have a platform before. Well, it's been bottled up because, honey, you were bubbling over tonight, and that was a good thing. That was a good thing, you know. So I thank you, Zakia, for who you are. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for being an inspiration. I want to put your website back up here again. You guys go and check out boxbunnies.co. It's not .com. It's boxbunnies.co. And they're just the cutest creation. She is also a fashion designer, a creator. She made the outfit she has on. And just contact her. They can go to Facebook, right? And look her
Facebook,
up, Zakia
website.
Evans. Yes, Facebook or the website, boxbunnies.co, and contact her. And hey, if you ever need her to speak on sexual abuse, speak on being an artist, and again, an artist can be a writer, artist can be a painter, and artist can be a speaker. So in closing, Zakia, say something to the viewers, and we're going to close out.
Well, I do appreciate everyone who's tuning in and did take the time out their day to follow us from the start to finish. Also, for all the victims out there, I do want to say that you are not alone. I stand with you all. I know I can't go into depth for a whole hour of lifetime of things, but I will be taking the offer up on using this platform to continue to speak about different avenues. If there's anything you all want to talk about, just one-on-one, because I ain't got nothing but time and I could talk for days now. So if anyone want to talk about anything, whether it's the art, whether it's the trauma, the sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, the marriage, even, I'm all ears for it. I'm all for it. So, and I just appreciate you having me here. I appreciate this opportunity, and I'm so glad to have met you. So.
Oh, yes. That was a divine design for us to cross paths. So until next time, you guys, I do have to acknowledge my sponsor, attorney Robert Allen. I thank you, Zakia. Don't go anywhere. It's getting dark, but don't go anywhere. Let me acknowledge my sponsor, and we're going to close out. Thank you guys for tuning in. TheOtherWomanMagazine.com and BoxBunnies.co to see Zakia Evans and her Box Bunnies. Good night, everybody.